we're going to start reading about homeless folks who are disappearing week after week. And the only link is that they always seem to die whilst in possession of bike headlamps. Podcast whose motivations, decisions, desires, wants are a total mystery to us. My name is Bob, sitting across the way from my good friend and co-host. That's Abe. How you doing tonight, Abe?
Doing well, Bob.
Yeah, here we are. Lori's here too. How you doing tonight, Lori? Good. Tonight is April 27th, 2026. It's a Monday. Little after 9 o'clock Eastern, as I find myself saying for some reason. Abe, you have a good weekend?
I did have a good weekend. I found myself at the theaters on 2 separate occasions, but I only ended up watching a movie once. And at the end of the show, we do the "What have you watched?" So
what a tease!
I'll save
Can't
it.
wait to hear this story.
But so the movie I went to go see was Michael. As Michael Jackson. Big numbers this weekend.
Oh my God!
So you're telling me you start the show, the pre-show, we're talking about
the
Russell
audience doesn't know
Brand
anything about this. What are you talking about?
banging near children, and now you want to talk about Michael Jackson at the end of the show.
But yes, but I I try to double dip this weekend. I was like, I'm not doing it until Sunday. There's no football, Let's go. The NFL draft was mostly over, and so I was like, I'll go watch another movie instead. When I walk into the movie at the the time that the movie is supposed to start, the movie is ending. Like somebody fucked up the projector, and they just let it run. So the first 20 minutes, I'm just watching the end of credits and based on a true story. I forgot, it's some movie with Anthony Mackie. I already forgot what it's about. What it's supposed to be about. But I was just there for 20 minutes, and people kept on walking out to speak to somebody. Like, hey, fucking fix it. And they never, They just fuck it. I guess we're not going to fix it.
How much of that is automated?
That's a good question. I think there's a button that they press, but then it goes to the beginning and you have to watch all the ads. And so once I realized, I was I'm not going to stick through this. Who am I kidding? I'll just go home. But the reason why I mentioned it is because I was in the theater on Friday and Sunday, and on both days, it was just a packed house. Just so many people for Michael. There are people dressed up in his little getup, people of various ages, just teens on to the 80s, well into the 80s. Very old people who need walkers just to kind of get by. I don't see that often at my AMC theater.
Nearly $100 million opening. For that movie.
I am so disappointed in everyone.
Which is what I remember a month ago. I was like, I don't, if these previews are any guide, this movie is going to do a lot of numbers because the reaction was very odd. But anyways, I just wanted to say a lot of people went to this movie. A lot of people.
All right. Well, we played a bunch of baseball. I had a baseball game out a county over as an hour-long drive to go get there. We were playing our majors team against that team, and then we were going to host a minors team back on our field at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And so what I spent my afternoon doing was I stood in between a light and a driving rain for 2 hours and umpired a minors baseball game where
the reason they played is because it's an hour away. So if we weren't going to cancel it before they left to come here, we weren't going to cancel it.
I see.
Here.
Right. They came all this way.
We're playing.
They came all this way with 7 kids.
Right.
Only 5 of whom were actually on the team, and they added 2 kids from their division who played with them. And then we lent them a couple of more kids as well just to make sure they had a full team. But yeah, by the end...
It was raining.
Legit, driving, full-on raining. And I'm like, you've got to get some outs, man. And so it's the way that we don't traditionally play by a mercy rule, but I know that their division does. And so as soon as I saw the opportunity, oh, I can just mercy rule them if it gets out of hand, and then we'll be okay, and we don't have to keep going. They're used to this sort of thing. It'll be fine. And so it's like 14 to, I think it's 14 to nothing going into the fourth inning. So it's 3 runs, or sorry, it's 15 runs after 3 innings, or 10 runs after 4.
Okay.
And so the visitors are coming up, and it's 14 to nothing. And so I announce they have to score 4 runs to keep playing. So everybody knows, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's just lightly raining now. No big deal.
It was kind of on and off, not on and off.
It rained the whole
severity.
time.
It rained the whole time.
Changed a good
But
bit.
yeah, it would get heavier and
Right.
lighter, but it would get heavier.
And it wasn't
There,
expected
14
to clear up. Like basically, it was gonna be like this, more or less. The rest.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what it
Yeah.
is.
14-0. They hadn't done anything the whole time, so I'm like, okay, we're good. They get 3 outs. Game's going to be over. Totally fine. The pitcher for the home team, one of our kids, proceeds to walk the bases full, and and I'm not sure that this team had a legit hit up to this point, but up strides to the plate a kid from our division who we lent them in order to make sure that they had enough kids. And, you know, to his credit, he responded to the call, because I just sent out a text at like 3:40, like, hey, anybody handy who happens to be around and wants to come play baseball in the rain, come down and play. And this kid, you know, raised his hand basically, and mom and dad drove him down, and he showed up, and they stuck him in the game. And he's one of the better kids that we have, who's 10 years old. And he comes up with the bases loaded and smacks a bases clearing double to the fence to make it 14-3. Steals third base on the next pitch, and then scores on the next ball in play to make it 14-4 before they finally get out of the
So they
inning.
needed exactly 4, and they got that.
Needed 4 runs to keep playing, and he batted 3 in and scored the 4th. And then the home team had to come up one more time. And at that point, it's like score 1 run, and the game is over, because you go up by more than 10 in the 4th inning, totally fine. And by the way, now, by the time the top of the inning is ending, it is raining heavily. And then the entire bottom of the inning, it continued to rain heavily. And it was like the kid would throw a pitch, and it would splat in the dirt, and the catcher and I would get coated with a splatter of wet infield mud dirt.
There was no reason to be playing except that we were.
Right, and I picked the ball up, and I would wipe it clean on my jeans and put it in my pocket and fish out the ball that I had just done that for on the pitch before and exchange it and put it back in play. It's very, very silly.
You were wiping it. Bob came up to the concession stand. I was like, do you have a rag? And I was like, no, but I have these pants. Because years ago, which we might have talked about with the kid who got hit in the face, they bought a bunch of pants, but these pants are completely see-through. So we can't give them to the children. That's mean. That's a prank. So now we just have them.
You're poor? Mom and Dad couldn't buy you a pair of pants? Here are some nearly transparent white ones. We can see your little, your Scooby-Doos right through them if you put them on.
So we use them as rags.
So that's what you used to dry up the balls?
Yeah, I hung one of those on the fence and just kept cleaning balls on them.
You guys have had rainy outings, or just
Not like this.
Yeah, not like this.
This should have been stopped.
This should have been stopped. I mean,
After the first inning.
field, to the field's credit, because we are in
thirsty.
severe drought conditions, soaked it right up and is in pretty good shape today after all of that rain. But,
it was also cold.
yeah, it was also cold. It's fucking March-ass weather here at the end of April. Like,
Yeah, it is kind of
like
weird.
50s and rainy.
Just to make April feel like it's going on even longer. This month is taking forever.
By the way, Lori, your boy Pavia did not get picked up by anybody at this year's draft.
He didn't need to. He's a legend.
Is he? So would it?
I think I made that,
Yeah.
by the way. I think I made that prediction, right? Last
Yeah,
year.
I
Not that
think
that's a
most
terribly
people
bold
did.
Because
prediction.
like
but
his height challenge, and he's kind of a dick a bit, from what I gather, from what I'm reading. Like,
yeah, he's height challenged, and his arm's not that strong.
The XFL or the
That's it.
USFL or whatever would be crazy not to bring him in just for the fucking TikToks and the.
But so that's
socials,
the thing. Like,
right?
what I mean, like, if he's seeking money, because like, I mean, who cares if you break some record in the UFL, right? So like, if money is what he's after, he has the name recognition and this internet
he's
environment
fine.
that exists.
I'll buy another sweatshirt.
He could just exist as a college football personality.
That's what I'm saying. He's a legend.
Right? So like, yeah. So
his
like,
future doesn't matter.
If he can't make it in the NFL, why even bother with the USFL or CFL? Why not just be?
Because maybe he likes
What
playing
else does
football.
he know? You can bring the whole family to whatever fucking second-rate city's got XFL teams. I couldn't tell you one of them.
DC, I think.
And I think they're called the UFL now. I think they combined.
Oh, is there no XFL
I think there's like
anymore
a
at all?
UFL. I've seen that on my television recently. So I'm gonna.
Why'd they feel the need to do that?
They wanted
I
to
wonder.
unite multiple. I don't know. The XFL and the USFL became UFL. I don't know.
Man, you're way up on your second-tier football product league news. Did you watch any of the draft? By the way,
I just kept up with it. I know
we put it on, and I'm looking at this crowd because it was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Great.
And
city.
they're like, from the look of it, many tens of thousands of people
It's
spread out in this big open air type deal in Pittsburgh. Like, what?
I mean,
What
ever
the
since
fuck are we doing with our lives?
Ever since
this
Said
is-
that last year too. It's what people do.
I'm really put off by it.
But
they
it's,
also go see the Michael Jackson movie.
Yeah, no, that's right. And also, this is like the dead period of like football. I mean, you're like equidistant from when it ended to where it's starting. So like you're deep into like no football, and so there's like this hope event where like, hey,
Yeah,
the team could
there's
get
something
better.
about the fact that it looks like normies that weirds me out. Like when 20 years ago, it's like a bunch of fucking slovenly
It was
Jets
just
fans.
Jets fans.
But that's
and it's like that checks out. But like they're cutting to like groups of hot chicks who are having a time.
It's remarkable. It's like a party. They have like a live band, so they play music when in between picks. But what's changed is they went from just one location to now going on the road. So they've gone to, I think, Vegas. They've gone to obviously Pittsburgh just now. They were in Nashville a few years ago, and that place was like a zoo also. I think that they're just going to keep this up. They'll just go to
that makes
a
sense.
place where they've never been, and so people are going to show up for that. It's like it's an event. Like people just want to be outside in April, I guess. But yeah, I mean the aerial shots, it's like this is like a personnel decision. Like people are just hiring players, and it's like this big event, and they tell you about how their childhood sucked and all these sob stories.
Yeah, and the walk takes like fucking 5 minutes
Yes.
now because they're like in a warehouse somewhere else, and then they have to go through like the Instagram tunnel or whatever, and then they have to go hug Goodell.
Right. But it seems like I'm sure in the future they're going to say like we need star players to be there in person because like a lot of them are just at home with their families. Like yeah, bring the camera.
Oh, yeah, that's also a branding exercise, right? Like Fernando Mendoza.
Right.
At home because mom's got MS. Like, oh, what a sweet son he is.
Well,
Family
he is a sweet
means
son.
everything.
You're still on the Mendoza's a bum argument.
Oh, he sucks. He's a bad person.
He's not
and he's going to be a bad football quarterback.
Now I don't know about that. He's like I'm sure a mediocre quarterback in the NFL, but he seems like a sweet kid. I don't know why you keep shitting on this guy.
Yeah, you do. He sucks.
He sucks. What are you talking about? And then Ty Simpson gets drafted. That was the biggest surprise to me. Another fucking bum
I
ass
wasn't
quarterback.
surprised. I feel like they're very similar.
Speaking of high challenge, what does this do to our boy Stetson? Like, I mean, he wasn't going to see the light of day anyway, but like
Stetson's done.
he's
what are we
done
talking
now,
about?
right?
He's
Like,
a back. Is he?
yeah, I mean,
Garoppolo keeps saying he might retire.
right, but like he's going to be like at the bottom of that depth chart. Now. I mean, you're not going to get a first round pick in Ty Simpson. Basically, they're treating him like as the Aaron Rodgers. Like he's just going to learn for a year or two or however long it takes for Stafford to retire, and it'll be his job. So Stetson might as well just retire also.
Yeah.
Or he could do a podcast with Diego
Ty
Pavia.
Simpson basically interrupting the interviewer to be like, well, I need to thank first and foremost my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I think the question was, your dad was always a football coach and he was your coach for a long time. How much did his influence on your life, like how did that help you get here? And he's like, no, fuck dad. I'm here because of Jesus Christ. It's like, can you imagine being that dude's old man?
Well,
Fuck you, you ungrateful sack of shit.
the old man wouldn't be there without Jesus, as it turns out.
What about the Colts? How'd they do? All of the reviews I read said that the Giants had a very good draft. I guess we'll see. But what about the Colts?
So the Colts gave up their first-round pick to get Sauce Gardner when the Colts thought that they were going to do something before everything fell apart in the regular season. So no first-round pick. C.J. Allen, we get a Georgia Bulldog coming.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I'm glad for that. And then a bunch of randoms, just no-namers, and we'll see how they do. But as long as Allen turns out to be a great linebacker, I'll be happy.
I think C.J. Allen's going to be a good pro.
Yeah, I mean, it's it was I think Ohio State dominated early, but it seemed like it was a down year as far as like high profile names. Like I don't know.
And the Falcons snagged Z Branch.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Well, the SEC broke a record.
Oh, did they?
This
like
is
overall?
a record number of SEC players.
Like not just first round. It's probably like overall.
overall.
Okay.
I mean, that's inevitable, right? I mean, we keep adding
It
teams.
hadn't happened.
I know, but now we have more teams than ever before. Like,
Sure, but also another thing happened. The 2021 Georgia Bulldogs roster has now had 45 players drafted off of it, the most of any single team ever. So surpassing the 2017 or whatever.
So that ends
Alabama.
That ends the kids who were here in 2021. Yeah.
But also the most talented team ever.
Nice.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's very good.
All right, we should probably talk about stuff. Stuff happened.
We could talk about the draft and
that's as much as I know about the draft. Is that it happened and there were hot chicks, and I was weirded out by the number of people and that they were hot.
yeah.
So is the hot chicks presence like? Does that indicate like there's some sort of crossover appeal for this? Like when it was just like Jets fans or that type, it was one thing, but to have normal
the
people.
The only monoculture is the NFL.
Yeah,
it's the only thing left.
I mean, people just need an excuse to go out and drink and hang out in a big crowd, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess it's just a reason to and it's probably it's probably free, right? I'm sure they're not charging these locals money. They're not that good.
I can't imagine that it's a ticketed event, right? Like,
probably like a lottery thing.
Yeah, because how do you control that? Like,
go stand in this fucking giant warehouse, half open air, and listen to some fucking wedding singer band do covers all night long, and then boo lustily when Roger Goodell walks out.
There was not enough booing.
Yeah,
it's very performative booing these days. Nobody fucking cares anymore. You just know that when you're there, you're supposed to boo Roger Goodell.
I miss the Jets fans booing every selection.
Pick. Yeah, that's true. Any selection they would make.
Every horrible pick. Boo!
The Braves are real good. Best record in baseball.
Yeah.
They haven't lost a series yet.
Very
That's exciting.
Start.
The Mets and the Phillies are terrible to start the year. It's my favorite kind of baseball season. Braves. I hope they do well. But if the Mets and the Phillies both suck ass, that's
even
that's
better.
what really gets me going. All right. Somebody tried to kill the president again.
This is becoming a routine. This is the third time? Is this 3?
No.
Yeah.
3?
Well, we had the Pennsylvania
Butler.
a sniper shooter who was killed immediately, and then we had the golf course guy.
That doesn't count.
He had a sniper's nest on a golf course, like within reach potentially.
Yeah, I wonder if there are
counts.
tiers when it comes to assassination attempts. Like the first one, that was, he was almost dead. The one where like the person got in position, but they never actually had a shot at the president.
Right, never quite had line of sight.
Same thing with this one over the weekend. So like 3
I think
butts.
I think the weirdo who camped in a tree by the golf course for 3 days or whatever it was is slightly above this one.
Okay, I see. In the ranking, yeah.
But this one was pretty good too. I will say though, so we woke up. We had Lori's friend visiting us this weekend.
Oh, nice.
among all of during all of the baseball. We are terrible hosts during baseball seasons. Like,
don't come.
There's people here. All right. Well, I hope you can take care of yourselves because we're not going to be here. They came to visit, and we were getting up Sunday morning, and Nitty goes, "So how serious was this? Was this real, or is this like the Pennsylvania thing? Like wait, what?
How would this?"
She seemed to be implying that maybe that was a fake in some way.
She would not be the only one, because over the weekend I've had.
Where do you think she got it? Herself?
That's true. A couple of my friends by text sent me similar questioning. Is this legit? Is this staged? And I don't know when this has started. I
just want to say, it infuriates me that intelligent people entertain the idea that you're poisoned in one of two ways. A, you're just completely conspiracy brain poisoned, right, where reality, there's just no bearing anymore, right? You just have to assume that everything that you read is completely bullshit, and that somebody's always trying to pull the wool over your eyes, and nothing can be trusted, right? There's that possible end. And then there's the other end of it, which is you are willing to believe anything about your political opponents, and you will not give them the benefit of the doubt on anything, right? So Donald Trump could not be the actual victim of nearly having his head exploded on national television last summer or 2 summers ago, whenever that was. And therefore it was staged, that somehow this was all a setup. And it really makes me mad. Because you don't have to choose to live that way. You can just take in reality as it actually exists.
Also, why is it surprising that a crazy person with a gun is trying to cause harm? That happens all the time in this country. Why is that surprising?
Right.
What's surprising is just the lax security measures that are taken.
So do you consider this? So I don't see this as a security failure. This is something that's been going on. We should describe.
Yes.
This idiot is from California, drove out to Washington, D.C. I believe he got on a train or something.
This is what's weird. So, they made a point about this. He apparently got on a train. Now, going from California to D.C., that's a commitment.
It's a long way.
That is multiple days at least, right? You're going cross country on a train. They don't go that fast. We're not in Japan.
No.
You would have to have planned this days in advance, booked a hotel space at where they're having this correspondence dinner. I think they always have it at that Hilton, right?
Right, the Washington Hilton, which is not shut down. It's just an operating big fancy hotel, and then they happen to have this enormous multi-level conference room, basically a giant ballroom where they have the correspondence dinner going on at the same time. But the hotel is not booked for the correspondence dinner, just the ballroom is.
So basically, there's this security weakness, right? Because if they're doing all of this security theater at the front, but then you have just regular guests who don't have to claim that they have a bunch of guns right on them, and riding a train does not require you to. It's not like going to an airport. So this person knew that, I can just bring my guns across all these states, and there's not going to be any friction point.
Right.
But you think the last friction point would be they would have some sort of segmented. I mean,
he did sprint through the security check, right? There's
that kamikaze run. That was
right. The magnetometers are set up, and he goes sprinting through.
Right. And
you can see there's one video where you shouldn't laugh at these sorts of things, but he looks like I almost did the bad. I think. I thought I was going to say I might as well. Because my thought was he looks like a raccoon on a nighttime security video or something, right?
I thought
where you see this streak across, and then I realized
you say possum.
This is potentially
looks like a
racist.
Possum or an armadillo.
So now who's the
and
racist?
He's armed-adillo.
Right.
Yeah.
But start over. Start the whole thing over. Go with my thing.
In any event, he goes screaming through this magnetometer area, just running at full speed.
Right.
but he still never gets within. He never gets within line of sight. He never even gets on the same floor
Right.
as the president, because you have to go like up or down a set of stairs or something to get to where the big ballroom is.
Right. So basically, he was far away from inflicting harm. I mean, I think I read somewhere where there were like 18 of the however many people that are on the line of succession were in attendance. You know, like basically,
Right.
if he was able to get through however more security checkpoints he needed to get to that ballroom, he could have knocked off a bunch of people. And so like that's where
No, he couldn't. There's a bunch of Secret Service dudes in there.
He onoutned had a handgun and a shotgun. He wasn't armed with one of the weapons
but,
of war
okay,
that
so
we
Even if
traditionally
he
see.
were,
Do you-
he's way outnumbered in terms of numbers of guns.
But also, the one complicating issue is the issue of crossfire. I think the gunfire that you could hear was just
Fair.
Secret Service people, right? So like if he got through and he shot
There was
one,
5 shots fired, I think, and I don't think he was hit, but one Secret Service guy was hit,
Right.
presumably from friendly fire, because
Right.
I don't think he shot anybody.
right? And so like it's remarkable that he survived, right? Because you would think like a person making this like
Yep.
very aggressive move, like. And you had so many guns. I mean, there was so much law enforcement there that all the protectees had security details of their own. The vice president, the main president, everybody else. I mean, just like everywhere, it was just a bunch of dudes in suits with guns, like
Right.
just a lot of them.
It's a very foolish plan.
Right? Yeah. But again,
But also trained dudes in suits with guns.
And this person is like he went to school not too long ago, like somebody who could think out a plan to get to D.C. on the one occasion that the president is at this event. And you would think that this is a hard target site, right? Like this is a very hard target. This is not Butler, right? Like you're coming to a very fortified area.
Right. And but on the other hand, you know where the president is going to be at what time,
Right, yeah.
Like you have that going for you, and you have a base of operations that you know you can be relatively close to the action,
Right.
Just by staying in this hotel. I think that it's possible he was in the grips of an almost religious fervor, based on reading the note, so-called manifesto that he sent out. He specifically said he didn't want to kill Kash Patel.
Yeah. What was that about?
And I think the
that
speculation
guy
is
seems
that
all right.
he didn't want to target law enforcement officials. So,
Okay.
like, specifically because Kash Patel is a sort of law enforcement official, that he would not be one of his targets.
That is a bizarre reason to. I mean, like you're willing to kill the vice president, but not the FBI guy.
Well, this is what I mean by the religious fervor aspect, and it's funny because Trump has been, in the aftermath of this, Trump and various administration types were talking about how that his motivation was somehow anti-Christian, that this is that this guy is very anti-Christian, and that strikes me as interesting because his manifesto is full of it's sort of an apologist or a defense of his actions from a religious perspective,
Right.
Like from the perspective of someone who takes his faith seriously. Not to say that you can't shoot holes in it, so to speak.
Right.
Not to say that it's entirely sound reasoning, but how often is religious fervor type reasoning sound? From my perspective, not very. But I certainly don't think that any of it can be understood to be against Christianity.
Right.
And I think that Trump and the people around him, the only way that I can and maybe this is a step too far, but the only way that I can imagine that they could be thinking this is against Christianity is if you think that an attack on Donald Trump is by nature
Right.
anti-Christian in some way.
I mean, we
That-
missed the
and
whole
that's-
week that he picked a fight with the Pope.
Right, and this is the week that he posted a photo of himself, an AI image of himself as sort of Christ the healer, and then later claimed, he just thought that he was being made to look like a doctor. When you you need zero almost. You need very slightly more. You need a non-zero amount of familiarity with Western religious iconography to know that, oh no, that wasn't a doctor.
Right.
That you were pretending to be Jesus,
Right.
right? Like you need no. It takes no knowledge, right? Your average idiot school child knows what's going on there. Like, I don't think that we can assume that this is what's going on, but given how tight his circle is, and given like the things that he publicly muses about, like, am I going to get to go to heaven? Is it possible that Netanyahu, as part of his pitch for going to war with Iran, included some of that sort of, this is not just an historic opportunity,
Right.
but a potentially huge redemptive opportunity for a man who might not necessarily have all the cards
Right.
to get into heaven. It just struck me as very weird
Right.
that Trump is saying this is a very anti-Christian individual who's attempting to assassinate him, when it seems clearly not to be the case. And in the same way that, like, he always identified basically to be against Trump is to be against America, right? And that's been going on for quite some time. I can't remember it being framed in this way in the past, where it's like to be against Trump is to be against Christianity,
Right.
Which is
that's
weird.
I mean, but it would be in keeping with the like assuming the role, like like Trump and America are the same in his mind, right? So like if he's like, if I'm taking the mantle of Christianity, then Trump and Christianity is also the same. So like he's kind of doing a similar thing. But my thinking,
right, and so would he imagine him? So because he's talked about how he was this close to dying, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe God gave him a second chance
Right.
or something like that, and that was a couple of summers ago. Does he imagine himself not to be a potential political martyr, but to be a potential religious martyr? Is that what's going on here?
but do you think he's inviting that? Because I mean, like that Khomeini guy, like I'm sure in his circles, like he's being thought of as some sort of martyr, but he's dead. Like, why would you want that? Why would you aspire to that? Like, I'm sure he's got some of these pastors that fill stadiums who tell him, like salvation alone. Is that the whole concept of the Christianity, right? It's like it's not a merit-based system. It's just like believe in this Jesus and you're in. Like,
It depends on which one.
right, but he can find
Apparently.
the right denomination.
But he knows. Like, he knows his heart. If there's anything that you can say about Donald Trump in a positive sort of way, he's not precisely delusional about whether or not he's good, right? Because he thinks that everyone is bad, right? Like, and that's. But he doesn't precisely tell lies about how good he is. Like, he thinks he's great,
right.
but he's never struck me as somebody who thinks that he's good.
Right.
Like, he knows that he's sort of a moral disaster.
But if he thought that he got like a second crack at this 2 summers ago, like the resume in the last 2 years would not, like, it's not like he's improved his standing. So like it's not like he's changed course and now he's like feeding the poor or whatever it is that he believes is right to do. Like he's continued in the same kind of path that he was going to be on if he wasn't shot at. But yeah, I'm curious if he is indeed like thinking about it, like as he's coming to the, last.
Yeah, I mean,
chapter of
part
his
of
life.
this is just, I mean, you talk about Trump derangement syndrome. The derangement is that I've been thinking about his personal psychology on a deep level every day for 10 years, right? Like, that's fucked up. But that's the world we live in now.
That's right.
Anyway.
To your point about like I think the people who jump to this conspiratorial kind of thinking, like I suspect that people are just constantly reacting to what's happening. So like if the Trump side exploits this situation to make some argument about like this is why we need a ballroom or the left is violent or whatever, right? They need to have some sort of countermeasure. And it seems like the landing spot the last 10 years is to just make up some conspiracy, right? Like that seems to be like the explain things away card, and like bad behavior is contagious and bad ideas seem to also be contagious, because like now this is now commonplace to where if something happens that one side wants to exploit for whatever reason, the other side will have to deny the reality of what happened, to say like that
false
did
flag.
not happen. Yeah, like it's bullshit.
This is to cover up for the Iran war, or it's to cover up for the upcoming midterm election losses that are inevitable.
Right.
Or it's to cover up for Epstein stuff, or what have you, which this guy, the attempted assassin, apparently was quite obsessed with, was the Epstein stuff. But back to the assassin's seeming religious fervor. The only way that this could have worked, because you're talking about, Lori's talking about all of the armed Secret Service personnel in the room. Everybody's got security details. There's a bunch of, like you said, like 20 different top administration officials in the room, including the president and the vice president and the first lady.
I like the vice president and what did Abe say? The original president? What did you say that was
the
so
main
funny?
President? I forget
the regular president? It was very good.
Anyway, everybody's here, and all of their security is there, and your plan is to just sort of bum rush the magnetometer area and hopefully find yourself like barreling through a set of double doors and like, oh, look, there's Trump. I guess I'll shoot him now. Like that's your plan. Right. That only works in the movies, right? Like this is a thoroughly John Wick brained individual.
He might have well been screaming like Leroy Jenkins as he was running through all the security people. Just a ridiculous plan. And if you run this back 100 times, like 94 times, he's dead, right? Like, I mean, just...
Oh, yeah. The best case scenario is what happened. He's not dead, right? Because I think 97 times he's dead. Twice he's
like
critically injured.
Right.
And then once he
What happened? He just tripped and they just got him? Like, I guess
he fell and they fell on him,
He didn't do his 40-yard dash or whatever. Like, it's remarkable that he just... This was the plan? This was your plan? Like,
but this is what I mean. Like, I have to assume he thinks that he was going to somehow, either because video games or because Jesus, like experience divine intervention here and fulfill his mission in some way. And like that sort of self-belief or belief in somebody else looking out for you. I mean, that's the mind of a severely religious person.
Do you think that he like was he trying to be like a Luigi kind of thing? He's like, oh, people will like me if I do this. Like what? Like it's kind of hard to get in the mind of like a crazy person. But
you don't know. To me, reading his manifesto, it's like this appears to be a person expressing sincere, if crazy, beliefs. So maybe he doesn't have those sort of puerile motivations where he thinks that because Luigi got famous that he would. I don't think that he's got that coming. Just because he didn't pull it off, right? Like Luigi was very romantic in a way because he did the thing and then disappeared, and there's a manhunt, and and he's a relatively attractive.
This guy's not bad looking.
He's not a bad looking guy either, certainly. And maybe we get into the Luigi conversation here in a second.
It's almost 10 o'clock already.
Yeah.
So maybe don't get into a different conversation.
Because there is an element here where you're looking at another left-wing or left-coded assassin, because I think it's safe to say that political violence is on the rise. As we have this sort of reinforcing, and this gets into the conversation about what people believe when they look at the news, right? And you have like Nitty here just rejecting the possibility that
I wouldn't say she was
not rejecting, but like casually questioning whether or not this sort of thing is legit.
Directly from a part of the internet.
Right. And this is just it's very mainstream thinking now to simply deny that a thing happened simply because it doesn't line up with your preferred political outcome or priors or whatever. People don't believe in any of our institutions, right? The vast majority of the thing that, at the very least, those who believe in one political ideology believe the other political party to be thoroughly disqualified at running anything, right? And then same goes for the MAGA types. They believe that the leftists are insane and therefore disqualified. And then there's a large portion of people who think that the whole system is rotten and that the entire thing is bullshit and you can't believe anything you see on the news and nothing is to be trusted, and they get their reality from people who tell them not to believe anything that they read or see in newspapers on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. So there is no institutional trust in any of our cultural institutions anymore. And what you would expect to result from that is people taking the law into their own hands. If you don't believe in the rule of law, as Trump himself says that, laws don't apply to him, right? That he should do whatever he wants to do because he's the president. This is a very common belief that if the system itself is compromised, then there's no reason to abide by the strictures of the system anymore. Right. There was a interview in the New York Times or podcast that went viral from the Times where Hassan Piker and Gia Tolentino and I think the chick's name was Nadia Spiegelman. This is a sort of leftist shock jock, a intellectual writer for like the New Yorker in Tolentino, and then the daughter of the guy who wrote the Holocaust graphic novel Mouse. So that's the trio that we're working with here. And Hassan Piker has been in the news the last few weeks as sort of the answer to is there a left-wing answer to the Trump phenomenon? Like is somebody capable of generating that sort of energy on the left?
Yeah, Barack Obama.
And Piker is a deeply problematic individual in terms of the beliefs that he expresses about the world. He says things like I think one of his famous ones is it was a catastrophe that the Soviet Union lost the Cold War, for example.
Oh, is he like a tanky? Like one of those that...
Yeah. Full-on, like, Hamas supporter, basically. He said 9/11 was... he was like a defender of 9/11 from the perspective of the terrorists. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
America had it coming, this sort of thing.
He's a relatively young person, right? He wasn't like...
a young person. He came up on Twitch. He became famous by streaming hour after hour of content on Twitch and talking tanky, leftist, insane politics. A deeply stupid and unserious person who strikes me... it was like wildly influential and popular.
He's getting a lot of traction. I mean, I know of him.
Yeah, and like Ezra Klein wrote a piece a couple weeks ago saying something like Hassan Piker is not the enemy, I think was not that he titled it necessarily, but that was also sort of the thrust of the piece, is we can make our peace with Hassan Piker because he needs, like the people who listen to him need to be part of the larger coalition that is going to move this country in the direction away from Trumpism and MAGA. And I think that that's not good. We don't actually need Hassan Piker in order to survive Trumpism or MAGA, in part because they're not serious people with real ideas. They think that they're just purely anti-American. He thinks that we should have lost the Cold War and it would be better if the Soviet Union had won it. 9/11 was good and Hamas was right.
Why did he have such a rosy view of the Soviet Union?
I don't know. I don't know if he's done any reading or research or knows anything. It's just things that he says because it's Don Imus is the closest I can get to it. Or Howard Stern.
Yeah, but right? Those shock jocks were just kind of just talking out of their ass. They didn't have like an ideology in that sense. Like he seems to like believe this.
Yeah, maybe. But does it matter whether he does or not? Or is he just like what is the... All right, anyway. So he goes on this New York... And the reason it's interesting is that he goes on the New York Times The Opinions podcast, I think it's called. They create op-eds from this sort of content, and so it has wide reach. And... it is the most mainstream of news outlets, is the New York Times. And he's sitting there having a conversation with Gia Tolentino and Nadia Spiegelman. And they're discussing how, speaking of Luigi, the killing of Brian Johnson by Luigi Mangione was good and justified. Because, like, this is Hassan Piker talking, basically, but good and justified because of all of the social murder that United Insurance Company has done through the years. That because the system has no legitimacy because of the pain and suffering that it causes on everyday American people, that killing this guy in the street because of the job that he has was entirely justified. And then Gia Tolentino is like, yeah, I steal lemons from Whole Foods because it's bullshit. Capitalism is bullshit. And like,
What
this
happens
is
if life steals you lemons?
yeah, this is her form of protest, since she can't just, she's got kids. She lives in a nice brownstone there in the city. She can't afford to be walking around shooting healthcare CEOs at 5:30 in the morning and murdering them on the streets. But she can lodge her protest in the form of stealing produce from Jeff Bezos. And I know that is and the justification for that is that the entire system is fraudulent and exploitative of the everyman. And I know that this doesn't need to be said to anybody with any sense of what the way the world actually works. But like, there's an assistant manager whose job it is to manage the shrinkage in the produce section at the Whole Foods, who makes, like, I don't know, $65,000 or $80,000 a year or something, right? And yeah, it's actually a pretty good job. They probably have health care benefits, and it's not so bad. Right. But like, this is just a blue collar asshole who's trying to keep the produce section shrinkage rate below fucking 70% or whatever, since they got to throw away 80% of what comes in because it goes bad. But like, you're not hurting Jeff Bezos when you steal lemons, which are like 2 for $1 at Whole Foods, you fucking idiot. You're hurting somebody whose job it is to make sure that Jeff Bezos doesn't pay a price for any of this shit, right? And so, like, to whom exactly are you inflicting pain? And it's not the person that you think it is. This is just a fucking bullshit thing. And aside from that, stealing is wrong, right? And it's not wrong because of the harm it does to other people. It's because it is inherently wrong, and it is a sin primarily against yourself, because you're doing wrong. So if you believe in some sort of grand system of morality, Jeff Bezos will get his, right? Without you getting off a good one by stealing a couple of lemons from him. In some bogus form of protest. Also,
it should be noted, the creating a permission structure to behave badly is still behaving badly. Like, it's interesting that they don't see the flaw in the argument that, like, if I see justification in killing somebody, like, if I as an individual see justification in killing, like in this case, a CEO, a healthcare guy, or whatever, then that gives me license to do that. I mean, if you scale that up to a society, where would that take us, right? There's vigilante justice.
Right, but this is what I mean. You're giving them the permission structure to tear the society apart because you continue to insist that there are flaws so fundamental here that we can't possibly go on in a moral way, right? That, like, the existence of healthcare companies is itself an irredeemable sin of the system that must be cleansed, and that's why it's okay to kill Brian Thompson on the streets of Manhattan. Is it silly to say, and that's why it's also okay to steal lemons from Whole Foods? Yeah, and it's not equivalent by any means, but it is at the same time pointing to the same thing, which is the entire system is bullshit, and you shouldn't be forced to participate in a bullshit system.
Right, but then that also exposes you to that same thinking. Like, I'm sure, bike thieves in Atlanta probably thought, imagine some scenario where, oh, look at this rich fuck with this e-bike. He can't even fucking pedal on his own. I'll show him, right? I'm sure they justified it in some way. Like, it doesn't give you the license to steal.
Abe will never get over it.
It's just
There's going to be American Psycho style. We're going to start reading about homeless folks who are disappearing week after week, and the only link is that they always seem to die whilst in possession of bike headlamps.
now that would be justified in the hypothetical that you're presenting.
Yeah.
Not that I would do such a thing, but yeah, the whole thing would fall apart if you. So I'm imagining that they're just saying it just to kind of like get through the clutter of online content. That just say the most outrageous thing, and you'll be featured in the New York Times, and that seems to have worked.
But why? So that's the question. Why is this the sort of thing that is worthy of conversation in the pages or in the podcasts, for that matter, of the New York Times? Like, have we actually gotten to the point where this is an acceptable sort of a mainstreamish position to hold?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure, but I'm sure it's probably reflected in the polling. Like some of these views are seeping through, and people in the real world are starting to believe this argument that people like Piker are making. You know, so like maybe they're like, hey, something is happening, and we need to get the person who's, you know, the poster child for this kind of thinking. And it seems like that's the only justification for having them on in the New York Times.
Yeah. Further, there seems to be this. I don't know how much this holds, but it seems to me that leftist political violence is often specific in its target, and political violence from the right side is often very general and terroristic in its nature. That you don't often see people with right-wing ideologies attempting assassinations.
Right.
Their targets are less sort of personal and specific and more general.
Right.
Women.
Whether that's Jews or blacks or fucking
Fill in the blank.
Women.
Muslim or Anders Breivik or whatever, like
Right.
immigrants.
Right.
I mean, I don't know that you
The
can
guy, and everyone said it was Asians, but
Right.
really it was women.
Yeah, but the Atlanta spa shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that
Was
it's
that
a
a
right-wing
religious thing?
ideology.
What-
He's steeped in sort of conservative and religious upbringing, and cultivated a healthy distrust and distaste of women. It's a
Like
hate.
those leftists
Well, you know what-
It's a hate
do.
sort of.
What's
but,
interesting is I sometimes I don't think the left-right framing adequately captures the motivations in these cases all the time. I mean, I think in this one it seems like it's like a left-wing guy doing a thing, but sometimes it's like some crazy person who like either hates women or they hate, you know, a specific podcaster. Like it's like something more specific, but because their politics is one thing or the other, they're lumped into one group or another. Sometimes,
Well, but even if you just think about it in terms of like you're just bullshitting, right?
Yeah.
Just non-specific
Right.
sociological psychology game playing that you're doing in your head.
Yeah.
Think about the Las Vegas shooter.
yes.
Can you imagine that person being a leftist?
No, but
Like there's something about I'm going to get up on the 60th floor of this Vegas hotel and fire into a country music festival that reads as
Right, but-
conservative.
but-
I
yeah.
know that's silly,
But
right?
that's- yeah,
Of course,
that's true.
that's
Well,
silly.
it's because of guns. It's because
No,
of
it's not just because of guns. There's something about firing indiscriminately and like hating,
yeah.
like sort of hating
Everybody.
everything and
Yeah.
everyone.
you had like at a
That-
country concert, right? Like a Jason Aldean and others
yeah, but
concert,
them too.
right?
Right.
So yeah,
But
Fuck
that reads,
everybody.
I mean, not. I know that'll get you in trouble with some conservative types. But I think an honest understanding of that is like that doesn't read as particularly leftist.
Right.
Whereas somebody who wants to go out and shoot the mayor,
right.
like that to me is more likely to be somebody who is of the left in some form or fashion.
Right.
And this guy seems to have been more or less of the left.
This seems to be more clear. I mean, but like the Charlie Kirk shooter, like wasn't there something like specific with Charlie Kirk, and he came from like it seemed like it was ambiguous. It wasn't like as clean as this one is. And the Butler shooter.
That was I think that was all wrapped up and confused with the trans question, right?
Yeah.
Like his primary motivation was that he believed Charlie Kirk to be anti-trans in a way that was irredeemable. And but yeah, like that's along these same lines too, right?
Yeah, he wasn't shooting up the rally.
Yeah, he was shooting one person.
It was just that one guy,
right? But
anyway,
that used to be a back in the 90s, with all those crazy dudes that were killing abortion clinics, like they would kill just the doctor or whatever. Like sometimes
no, they were blowing up the whole clinic.
In some cases, yeah. Like what was it, Rudolph or what's his face? Somebody did, but there was another guy, the baby killer guy, that he just shot the doctor, and there were other instances where just the doctor was shot or the nurse. But it seems like I think you're accurate in that assessment now, where it's general versus specific.
Well, what do we do with that?
I don't know. I just know that. So like you go back and like we seem very clearly now to be in an era of political assassination, right? Like I mean, they've gone after Trump. There have been attempts on the lives of lawmakers in like Minnesota, for example. Nancy Pelosi was targeted poorly by that crazy hammer-wielding psycho in California who crushed Paul Pelosi's skull up pretty good.
You know what's interesting? Like it feels like we're living the 1970s all over again. You have the Nixon,
sure does.
Nixon era corruption. You got Ford got shot at twice in like a month, and I saw it was funny. The
Iran shit happening.
The oil
this is what
issue.
I said when that started. I was like, no, we're not doing this again.
And there was a funny Drudge Report picture where Trump's polling was like in the low 30s, and they're like he's pulling like Jimmy Carter numbers, because like he's getting to that low 30 thing, and that's another 70s era. It's very 70s, like what's happening now. But things settled down.
Obviously, the worst decade, and here we are again.
It's all cyclical.
Yeah.
Thanks, Obama.
One wonders, like, what the sort of breaking point is. Like, it has to be something that is spectacular and awful, you would imagine.
What was it in the 70s?
I think, the last one was, it bled into the 80s with Reagan getting shot in 81. But after that,
what ended it?
It just kind of settled down. I think, like, that's what's going to happen. Things come and go.
There was an attempt on the Pope shortly thereafter as well, right?
Yeah. And the Egyptian guy got shot and killed.
That's not the answer to the question.
But it just kind of stopped.
I think people just stopped being as poor.
Yeah.
You would have thought that, like, the Charlie Kirk thing would have been enough.
Right. The problem is that it just takes one crazy person to act, right? So, like, if a lot of people learn, hey, maybe, and it's not like anybody tones down the rhetoric, they maybe give it, like, a couple hours.
Right. It's the opposite.
Right.
We are actively cultivating a culture in which people are encouraged to not believe the shit that they read, are encouraged to believe that the other side is completely illegitimate, and encouraged to believe that the entire system is entirely illegitimate, and that therefore you cannot act immorally in an illegitimate system. Right? Like if you live under the patriarchy, anything you do to take down the patriarchy in service of taking down the patriarchy is justified. If you live in a totalitarian or authoritarian society in which no one is free, anything you do in furtherance of taking that down is completely acceptable. And if Donald Trump is the devil, then anything you do to get rid of him is completely acceptable. And that's a very bad and unstable world to live in. And it's just, it did seem at the same time like an unserious attack on the president. At the same time, he is vulnerable, right? I mean, to whatever extent he is, and his vulnerability. And I don't think people really appreciate this. And I said it over and over again a couple of summers ago when I said I was sort of fixated on this idea that the Donald Trump's head was nearly exploded on live television in front of all of us, it would be thoroughly civilizationally destabilizing for Donald Trump to be assassinated like this.
Oh, yes.
And I don't think that that's appreciated. I don't think people are quite coming to terms with that.
Right. And also, especially when the trend line, I mean, these are early days, there's still 3 more years of this, but the trend line is not positive for the president. You know, the numbers are in the shitter. You have just a lot of unhappiness. The numbers don't look good for the midterms. Like, if he becomes a lame duck president and he's less effective at getting anything done, basically he's just neutered, the legacy will reflect that, like all of the bad that has come from it, and he would be regarded as a failed president in that sense. But like, if you martyr him, like what is the next step? Like, I don't understand what the thought process is from that. Like, killing any politician is wrong, but just especially in this case, like, what do you think is going to happen after this? It's going to become a more a coarser kind of environment. Like, just more bad will come from that than anything else, instead of just letting it run its course.
Has there ever been anyone in history that you are more convinced would happily fake his own death so that he could watch everyone react and then come back like a month later? Putin, maybe?
Putin is the answer, but it's not more. It's just equal.
But people, like, I don't think that he gets off on the grand public spectacle of his demise in the way that Trump would.
Yeah.
Right? I think it is, like, if I have to, like...
Are you thinking maybe this was a false flag after all?
No, not at all. But I want, like, if he had any imagination and curiosity and truly understood himself, he seems to me like the sort of person who would stage a spectacular death for himself, hide out for a month.
I don't understand how that could work. I mean,
enjoy all of the hate and all of the weeping and gnashing of teeth equally from both sides, and then just spend the rest of his days after he came back just going on tour and talking about that month. Like, he would spend the rest of his life talking about how everyone reacted when he died
during this bogus month. Like, is Vance, like, does he assume the office, or is he still vice president? And
This is the post presidency that I am imagining.
It is interesting that they whisked away Vance first. I think it's just his protection was there first, but it's weird that Trump was still there for half a second.
It's also interesting that he was at the White House Correspondents' dinner at all.
Well, no comedians this time, right? It had that O's guy, that mentalist guy.
It was going to be, I mean, the main attraction was going to be the Trump speech, and he said that he's going to give like a very vicious and hilarious speech.
Right.
But now it will never see the light of day because he feels some kinship with the people in the room or something. Like, it was. Like, it was going to be very mean to the press, but now, we are all one because we survived this ordeal together.
It's remarkable how fast things turn around. This happened, Saturday night? He's like the lead interview segment on 60 Minutes the day after, and he's like, he's behaving in his usual boorish way.
So, yes. Also, I think Norah O'Donnell asking the question, hey, so... what about his beef? Right? Like, Norah O'Donnell saying, well, yes, sure, maybe he shouldn't have tried to kill you. but what about his motivation, right? Like, but like, shouldn't you have to answer specifically the critiques that this psycho assassin had?
Right.
And the answer to that is no, fuck you.
Yeah, that should have been like, I'm not going to dignify this crazy lunatic's whatever.
And he sort of did, right? Did he drop a "how dare you" on her?
Well, he just attacked her. Like, I knew you were going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm not a rapist.
But like, I think that is I think that as unpleasant as I find Donald Trump, and as I don't like the way he deals with interviews and the press a lot of the time, I think that that's a horrible question. Like, you cannot give any credence to the underlying motivations of the guy who bum rushed the security detail and was intent on killing Trump and his administration flunkies.
Right.
So don't do
I
that.
wonder if this happened on a Tuesday and they had like 4 days to prepare. Somebody like, hey, what kind of stupid question is this? Like, we shouldn't dignify. But since I'm sure they did the interview like 12 hours later or whatever, like on Sunday afternoon. But yeah, it was a bad question, and I think like a worse answer. Just the way he answered that was just like, come on.
Yeah. All right. I was listening in the car today, and something else got me down. This is from NPR.
But then let's be done.
Yeah. What baby teeth reveal about developing baby brains?
Aww.
And the long and the short of it here is that, as it turns out, baby teeth operate like tree rings because they get built in the in utero so early, and they're built out of whatever is available, right? So they are the product of their environment. And so if there is like heavy metals, for example, in the environment of the infant is in there inside the womb, then that will be preserved in the baby's teeth in a way that it isn't necessarily preserved in a way that can be studied in other parts of the body. And this is from the NPR story. There'll be a link in the show note if you want to go check it out. Scientists say baby teeth have a value beyond the payouts they get from the tooth fairy. By examining the layers in these teeth, they are discovering how exposure to metals common in the environment can affect both developing babies' brains and behavior in adolescence. And basically, like 15 years ago or something, they selected this group of children, and then they collected their teeth through the years, and they have been very closely studying their performance in school, their behavioral issues, and anything else of note in their lives, and then looking into their teeth to figure out any correlation between things found in their teeth and their behavior. And the long and the short of it is that we found that exposure to this metal mixture during this critical period of around 6 to 9 months of development was strongly associated with negative changes in behavior in these adolescents. So like too much lead, zinc, and copper and manganese are harmful to the babies on the long. Of course, everybody knows you don't want too much lead in your blood and in your body. But there's just something that's sort of depressing to me about the idea.
The predestiny of it.
Right. Like there's...
It's probably not just that.
I'm sure, right. Obviously, it's not just that. But like, isn't it an incredible bummer that like you could be dealing with some fucking kid and he's a real pain in the ass. Right. And like, the reason why this person is a pain in the ass is because when he was inside his mother with 3 months cooking still to go, she got exposed.
She lived in a shitty apartment,
right? To like lead paint in the walls or something, right. And it got into her system, and then got into his system, and now we've got this fucking shit,
right.
Who's a real pain in the ass and has behavioral problems and is more likely to commit violent crime and have an antisocial life and all of the rest. And fuck,
right?
Like, what are we gonna do?
But that's just one of
kids these days are soft.
I mean, you have to play the cards you're dealt. I mean, it is sometimes you get a shit draw. You have to just work with what you got. But that's not
right. I know, but like,
that's not the only thing. You could be born in a bad situation.
No,
outside of
there's
that.
a million ways for shit to have gone wrong. But like, if they study the literal volume of the brain of these children is reduced by 3 or 5% or something because of exposure to heavy metals back when they were still fetuses, like. Good Lord, what a bummer! Like, oh yeah, we're gonna fix the schools. You stupid assholes! We're gonna make sure that they pass their standardized tests. Like, no, you idiot! That doesn't matter. The bed's been made. The cake is baked quite some time ago, actually. And like it's it's akin to this sort of giving up that you have to do when you come to terms with the idea that there's an amount of free will, probably, or at least there's an amount of unknowing the deterministic factors that basically translates to free will for all intents and purposes. But also, like, you just kind of have to accept a lot if it's the case that, and this is an expert say sort of thing.
Yeah,
also.
but
so who the fuck knows?
In the coming years, more data will become available about like just our entire composition, and like I do wonder, would you want to know this? Like, oh, Bob, like when you were born, like you're like you could have been 10% smarter, or like like 10% more prone to this or that. Would you like? I mean, how would that be helpful to know that like 30 years on, 40 years on? Like, hey, I survived these 40 years.
Could they run a full body scan on me and determine that, like, I lost 7% of my potential, my neurons simply did not grow to the mass that they ought to have grown to because of something, right? Like there was some environmental toxin in the water in Lawrenceville when I was 3 years old that potentially poisoned me in some way. Like, you don't want to know that shit.
No. And also, again, it's not destiny. You can overcome these obstacles.
Probably not.
You think every one of them is like stabbing somebody?
You can. That's the thing with psychology. You poo-poo it all the time. But, like, the whole point is that, like, you can overcome the hand you've been dealt with tools.
I have a shit memory. Still alive. I didn't fall off a cliff,
Still alive.
You don't know that... You don't know what has been lost if you're just dumber than you otherwise ought to have been. Like, I don't know what you mean you can overcome. Yeah, sure, you can still have a life worthy of dignity and individual autonomy and all of the rest.
Isn't that what you should strive for? Like, who cares? Like, how important...
Right, I'm just saying, like, it's fucking depressing. Let's not pretend like it's not depressing.
You can still have a fully meaningful life.
Oh, absolutely. For sure. All right, let's play some Strassmann.
Oh, nice.
No!
Sorry, we have to. It's now time for America's favorite game show. Did Mark Strassmann, CBS News' senior national correspondent, get off a good one? It's too in keeping with other conversations we've had, so we must. Also, it's in Abe's neighborhood.
Oh,
sort of.
That's right.
I want to go to bed.
We are getting killed by the fires.
Stuff.
All right, wildfires torched dozens of homes in Georgia. This is from the CBS Evening News.
We turn now to the wildfires in Georgia, now just 15% contained. And what about how they started? We've got new information on at least one of them. Our senior national correspondent, Mark Strassmann, is in the disaster zone with the latest. Mark, good evening to you.
Good evening, Tony. I want to show you this car lot, more than 100 older cars, and it's a total loss. Every day is a wild card with these wildfires, which have already burned more homes than any fire in Georgia history.
In rural South Georgia, winds keep shifting this wildfire's front line. New fires sparked overnight. Walls of flame shot 50 feet high. 120 homes gone in two wildfires. This calamity had a random spark.
We believe it was started by a balloon landing on a power line causing an arc that created the fire.
That fire took Anna and Scott Dudek's house.
We started gathering things up, watching the fire literally on our property, headed right for the house.
They saw flames coming and fled with 4 kids and 10 dogs to Florida. In the car, she watched their home burn on her phone.
You had Ring cameras in the house, and you were watching?
And when both of my devices were offline and it was black and I couldn't see no more, it was like so gut-wrenching because then I knew like they got what I call home.
Everyone here is looking for a spark of hope.
I'm down, but I'm not out.
We met Jesse Morgan at his ravaged automotive business. He started it in 1996, 30 years, up in flames. He told us his insurance denied his claim. Acts of God aren't covered.
I definitely could use some help, but I guess my pride is too much. I'm not going to get out there and ask for it.
In all their loss, the Dudeks also feel lucky.
You can always rebuild stuff, but you can't rebuild family.
And the Dudeks told us right now that they're leaning on their faith. They hope to be back here this weekend to see their house in person and to figure out next steps. Tony?
Wish them the best, Mark. Thank you.
All right, Abe, did Mark Strassmann, CBS News' senior national correspondent, get off a good one?
Yes, he did. He got a couple of good ones.
Strassmann gets off a good one.
That family with 10 dogs? What the fuck?
It's a lot.
It's very Florida of them to say we fled with our 4 children and 10 dogs to Florida.
How is a balloon an act of God?
Fair question. We'll get to the YouTube comments here in just a moment where similar questions are asked.
I know that it's a coping mechanism for people, and they're right. They're just things. You can replace things. But all of us are going to die.
Yes.
And all these things, theoretically, could go on much longer. So in a way, it's way sadder when like a 200-year-old house burns down. Like that thing was here before us and will be here or would be here after us.
Lori taking
I
the
don't like the
remember the Talkmaster?
Of things.
Old Neil
yes.
Bortz used to talk during these segments like, we lost everything, and he would come on and he would very haughtily pause the proceedings and say, "You haven't lost everything. You haven't lost anything that matters. You still have your life and your same internal drive."
Yeah, for another 50 years. Like, so fucking what?
It's very, very Lori of you to say the real shame here is the losing of this stuff.
No, these people probably didn't have anything good.
Speaking of, this car lot.
I know. These
I
are
see some before pictures.
Exactly.
These are some dramatic
You'd be
pictures.
sadder, I bet.
This looks like you drive by on the highway, well out of town.
I know exactly the one you're thinking of, up 316. No, up 441 from Athens to
We're talking about like car graveyards.
Yeah, it's like a junk lot, basically, of just... Yeah,
I know exactly the one you're thinking of.
I mean, that's what it looks like anyway, right? Like, I don't know.
Now...
But look at me.
Do you think that the reason his claim was denied because he's like, yeah, these were all classic cars,
Sentiments,
because they were all 30 years old and they were all fully restored and they were worth $70,000 each. And
does
insurance company?
Does insurance cover sentimental value? I'm sure they do.
Yeah. Also, Strassmann starts the proceedings with a deep shot, and he's standing among all of the burned out cars, and it looks relatively okay. Like in terms of not being particularly exploitative here. But the final shot of Strassmann in this is they've gone like Vietnam cameraman guerrilla style, like behind some burned out debris to make him look like he's like in among the horrible burnt and twisted metal. And it feels like a bit much to me.
That's why he's a senior national correspondent.
All right, to the comments here. At Alan Davis -E6T9K 3 days ago. What's the point of having insurance if they're not going to help people they insure?
Good point.
Someone else says insurance companies need to go broke. At Bonnie Collar 8356 3 days ago. The world we live in now is unbelievable.
You tell them, Bonnie.
I think she's exactly right, actually.
At Matt45540 3 days ago, insurance companies create a new Luigi every day. Hopefully they find a lawyer to help them soon.
Easy, Matt. Easy.
Right. And then we start getting, one more. At UnjustWin186 3 days ago, how is Balloon act of God? Which is what Abe asked as well.
Good question.
Slightly more illiterately than Abe asked it. But
act of lowercase g, which is pretty good.
With balloon, not balloon, but balloon. At Master Drafter 6129 3 days ago, data centers will be put there.
Oh, you think this is some sort of scheme?
Right.
Yeah.
At MG-BH2TJ 3 days ago, this has to stop. The elites are burning down towns to get the property for their AI stations.
There seems to be some of these politicians need to get in these comments and get ahead of these issues of tomorrow. Data centers.
At Jared Binks 5448 3 days ago, time for the Red Hats to rake the forest.
That's an old one.
Yeah.
Bob.
Anyway, I'm amused by the insurance companies are bullshit, and also this is a conspiracy to get cheap land for data centers for the AI companies, as though the far, far impoverished reaches of Southwest Georgia or Southeast Georgia were not readily available to be bought up if that was the plan.
But there was a similar argument. Remember the fires in Hawaii and all these like billionaires swooped in and.
Yes, because Mark Zuckerberg was hurting because he couldn't pay the fair market rate for land in Hawaii. Instead, he needed to burn down the land in order to buy it up. This is all very stupid. And you should choose not to indulge that sort of thinking in your life if you are a relatively intelligent person, please. That is my ask. You've been listening to Cast Iron Brains, a podcast with Bob and Abe. Find the show on Substack, brainiron.substack.com for more from us, including this week, the glorious return of the Billboard Hot 100 show. Only available at the Substack, brainiron.substack.com. The opening and closing themes of the show were composed by Mark Gillig, tetramermusic.com, Tetramer music. For more from Mark. Abe, you went to the movies twice, saw one movie. How was Michael?
So I went to see Michael with one of my nephews who's a big fan of this Michael Jackson guy. I knew going into this movie that it was going to be, they were going to skip the controversial elements of Michael Jackson, the child abuse stuff, but
allegations.
Yes, I mean, come on, who's kidding?
Settlements.
I round up to yes, but I'll share this text that I sent to my brother because he asked the hours after I saw the movie over the weekend how it was. So I was like, "How was the movie?" And so this is like right after I saw it. So this is just exactly what I thought when I got out of it. It was pure propaganda. They made Michael Jackson into some angel. He could do no wrong. It's like they got Kim Jong-un's director, and they're going to do a part 2, so maybe they're saving all the child molestation parts for that. Other than that...
When does it culminate?
So they end in the late 80s. So this is like... They don't cover... Basically, it's the
just need to end.
The big bad of the movie is his dad, who seems to be like the devil, like literally the devil.
But that's how it was.
Right. But Michael Jackson's like the sweetest thing. Like he loves everybody. He can do no wrong, and like he's just trying to do right by the family, but he's being taken advantage of by this father who he's so demanding, such a low character, this Joe Jackson, and so the whole movie is just that and. I think it's the nephew of Michael Jackson who's playing the role. When they first transitioned from the young Michael Jackson to the adult Michael Jackson, it took a while for the audience to be into it. I should also stress, this audience was unlike anything else I've ever seen. Like it was like almost like a religious experience people were having. They were up, like just rude behavior. I mean, everybody was up and going back and forth and dancing and singing along, and like this was not your typical movie-going audience where everybody just sits down and they just.
How much music is played throughout the movie?
Mostly they just keep playing. Like anytime there's a lull in the story, they just cut into one of his hits, and like he's performing Thriller, and they're like, "Hey, what if I step like this?" And they go back to the music, and for like 2 minutes, it's the song. And the audience is just into
because it was a broad. I don't know how closely related it is, but there's a Broadway version of it that I think is a jukebox musical, but it's with a story.
Right.
With this story.
Didn't
and
you
I
see
saw
something
something like that. Yeah, it was kind of like that, but this was they lean. I mean, they did the belt beating, you know. So there were some dramatic elements early on. What's interesting is that George Jackson he's portrayed as this like impossible father from like a bygone era, just very violent towards his kids. And there were at least 3. I don't know why I was counting 3 opportunities for this shitty father who likely was also slapping his wife around. I mean, you know, there's some overlap. You know, he's not just directing all this violence towards the kids. He seems to be violent towards the mother, but at no point does he do anything to the mother. He's just hitting Michael and no one else. All the other all the other Jackson kids are not getting hit.
Was he or was he not like the greatest recording artist of all time and a towering figure in American culture? Was the Jackson 5 a staggering success?
That's the argument that he made. Like, I got y'all out of Gary, Indiana.
Results matter.
But anyways, the movie ends and it says part 2 is coming. And I turned to my nephew. Like, there's no way they're going to do a part 2 because you can't propaganda your way out of what happens next, you know? Like, because all of the stuff happens after this period ends.
Do we even make it to like the early 90s when he like knowingly weird? Like he's just weird in public?
Got to the Pepsi commercial snafu, and then like I think it was the bad. I think late 80s.
Bad is when he started to get weird.
Yeah, because he does the nose job.
He's white.
He was still top of the world for like the Super Bowl halftime performance.
He
when
was
did
the
things
most
start to fall
important
apart?
person
Like
in the world.
Mid-90s? When did the allegations come to light? Like right around the mid-90s?
Well, it was right around then.
Right. Because the black or white video has the 4-minute outro where he like beats up a car and like he does violences in the street.
Macaulay Culkin's in the video.
That's right. Yes.
But he was becoming super weird in public
and
by then.
White.
Yes.
White. And tiny little nose.
So
and claimed he wasn't getting surgery.
Right. That was obviously silly. Is the performance good? Or is it... Because, like, to me, the obvious comparison is Bohemian Rhapsody from a few years ago, which I found awful. That movie made a ton of money, and everybody liked it for some reason, and it didn't win a couple Oscars, and Rami Malek won awards for it.
Didn't it win Best Picture or no?
I don't know.
I don't think it won Best Picture. I think he might have won.
Maybe he won Best Actor,
I don't know. You have to...
I thought he was awful in it. I didn't buy it. It was all prosthetic teeth, and he was the wrong physical specimen for the role.
He's too little.
But was this...
It's in a similar vein. Like, I mean, I think you would similarly not like this movie. I mean, the movie part alone, like, it didn't work. Like, because... Like, if you know anything about the Michael Jackson story, it's like they're omitting some things and they're playing it. Like, if you didn't know anything else about Michael Jackson, you would think, "Holy shit, this guy's the greatest fucking thing ever." There's no like
you could tell an interesting story about Michael Jackson that is super critical.
No. You just don't leave it.
And it should be
noted. You could though. You could like OJ Made in America. Like you could tell.
Well, you know what's a documentary? You could do a documentary.
What's interesting is that. There was no audience for that movie. There was, however, an audience for this whitewashed version of Michael Jackson, right? But like, if they did like a critical look at him, the people that believe the allegations or they have kind of cast him aside, they're not going to go see it anyways, right? And then all the fans that just want to listen to the music aren't inclined to see that either. So like who would that movie be for other than just...
Don't you think that there's like a healthy audience, evidently anyway, for like fucking Michael Jackson music video night at the AMC?
Yes,
and
I would watch that.
Wouldn't that be way cheaper?
Right,
you don't have to produce this fucking movie. You don't have to get into the weird...
Oh, that would be so great.
The weirdo ethics of making a hagiography of this guy who was a nightmare. At the very least, whether he was a criminal nightmare also, but like certainly a weirdo.
Right.
But like, couldn't you just go make $100 million by showing his music videos and making it like a sing-along, dance-along type thing at the local theater?
And what's weird is that Janet, the sister, is not in this movie at all, which is fine. But she was distanced herself from this whole production. Same thing with one of Michael Jackson's. So there was like the schism in the family where some people were like, "We want no part of this."
I thought I saw that one of them is heavily, like Paris, I think, is heavily involved. Is blankets not involved?
Yeah, I think Paris is. I think there's a good half of the family that seems to be against this for whatever reason. I don't know if they're just like, we don't want to revisit this, because what's happened is that because it's a topic of conversation, people are bringing up the fact that he was accused of having inappropriate relations with children. So like he's been dead for how many years now? Like 2010,
if you're the nephew, why not just go like get a residency in Vegas or something,
right?
And do that. Yeah,
he could have done that. Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Anything else you watched?
No, I watch the 60 Minutes. They had I would recommend people watch the extended version of the Ben Sasse segment that they did. This is the former senator who's like on borrowed time. Like he's lucky to still be alive.
I only found out about this few weeks ago, but Ben Sasse was like a super conservative in his personal life and in his policy preferences, certainly, but also one of the good ones in the Jeff Flake, I suppose, mold of just trying to be a normal politician and not a total psycho. And found out shortly before Christmas, the most recent one, that at the age of 53 or 4 or something like that, I think, he has pancreatic cancer that became all of the other cancers.
It does that. Pancreatic cancer is like the worst.
Very quickly, right? Isn't
super fast?
I think pancreatic cancer is the one
it's
that
like, you're dying in 2 months.
Got Steve Jobs also. I think.
That's the one where you have a very short window because like you said, like this is around the holiday season, and they say he should be dead by now already because of if he didn't have this new medication, and he's still going to die at some point. It's just going to be extended by a few months.
Right. He did an interview with Ross Douthat of the New York Times that's on video, or you can listen to the podcast version. And really, even just reading it was moving and touching enough. I haven't watched the 60 Minutes conversation yet, but the Ross Douthat one at the Times is also similarly worth your time and attention. The guy's face is like burning off, like the the drugs that he's on, which have done, and apparently it's all experimental shit because it's the only thing that, like, none of this stuff is like, you can't just go get it at the pharmacy or whatever. This is all stuff that's in testing, and it's done a remarkable job of shrinking the tumors that are inside of his body. Apparently, not that he's going to survive this. He will be dead in fairly short order, regardless. At the same time, it's like burning his face off. Like literally, you can see he just has open, bleeding sores on his face while he's sitting there talking to Ross Douthat. And I assume that it's much the same for the 60 Minutes piece. There's a line in the Douthat conversation where he says something like, 100 years from now, we're not going to be talking about any of the politics stuff. Like, we'll be talking about like all of the stuff that we concern ourselves with in the moment-to-moment, day-to-day. Like you will talk about it in the broadest possible strokes in 2 sentences, right? Like none of this shit is going to matter in fairly short order. And that's not to say that like we should not concern ourselves with it necessarily now, but at least to hopefully have some perspective in terms of what actually matters. Anyway, I'll make sure there's links to all that stuff in the show note. Lori, what did we watch?
I started watching Mindhunter from whenever ago, about the 70s. Speaking of the 70s.
I always wanted to watch that show.
Did you?
I did.
Did you?
Okay,
well, you can watch it on your own. You're home all day. I watch it in 20-minute chunks on the treadmill. That's what I'm doing with my life now. Yep. We didn't even have time to watch TV last night. So...
Watching the latest series of Taskmaster.
Watching Taskmaster and the Braves and whatever the YouTube algorithm gives us.
I mean, it's nice to come home and turn the Braves on now that the Braves are good.
It's fine. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I can't wait for you to watch shows with Jonathan Groff in them.
Yeah, it's fine. I understand. I consumed a podcast.
Jesus Christ, Bob.
I consumed the podcast of a woman who thinks that the All-Star game is child abuse
Are you putting this in this? I thought we were going to wait till we were done to tell Abe what's going on.
Yeah.
No, let's just do it live. Who cares?
Ooh.
A podcast.
I didn't
Say that
see
again.
this coming.
I mean, it's not like anybody's listening, really. And also, like I've come to terms with the idea that like if people want to and as part of this is like so much of my life during springtime is dedicated to serving this little league. And it's not like I say such horrible things here, right? Like I'm not willfully antisocial. I'm not Hassan Piker out here trying to make a name for myself. But like a properly motivated person could steal this little league out from under me if they wanted to, just based on the public the things that I have said in public, right?
Yeah.
You know what? Fucking fine.
Yeah.
Like if that's what you feel you need to do. All right. I will lose that battle probably, and that's okay. So yeah, whatever. Let's talk about it.
You put in so much work. I've told this story like 50 times, so if you need a good way to tell it.
Yeah, well, we sent out our All-Star interest form, like because
You have to explain what All Stars is.
So what All Stars is basically is, I guess I didn't know what All Stars was a few years ago, but basically it's ultimately the one that the public is familiar with is the Little League World Series. It happens in mid to late August, I suppose, and it's shown on ESPN, and it's the best Little League players from this country and also internationally end up competing in a World Series, and somebody wins. That all starts at the very local level where we are a Little League. We play Little League baseball. We compete in a postseason tournament where we take essentially just the kids who are available, right? Like we are not one of those little leagues that puts together a travel team that keeps kids together for years, right? Like, because the way to do this, really, if you want to compete, if you're like Tom's River, New Jersey, or whatever the fuck, that always seems to have a team that competes every single year, is that when these kids are 8 years old, you identify the best 10 or 12 kids that you can, and you stick them all on one team.
Starts with having more than a few teams.
Right, it starts with having more than just two teams.
It's hard to identify the best 10 or 12 when you can find the best 5.
So you're just trying to field a team where they have such a large pool that they can pick the best from.
Right, but what I'm saying is that there are
we don't have enough people to
we
be
don't
like
have
that.
enough people to do the thing that actually leads to seriously competing for a spot in the Little League World Series. Right. There are psychos out there who do this, and the way to do it, the way to build a competitive all-star team, is to get these kids together and make them play together for years, and you. Through attrition, like you cut a kid and add a kid here and there, where it's like, oh, well, little Johnny didn't develop the way that we thought he would from an 8-year-old to a 10-year-old, so he's out. But Billy is now on the team, and officially on the books, the All-Star teams aren't permitted to be made until May 15th every year. But in reality, this is actually a travel ball team that also plays Little League baseball together so that they can compete in this postseason tournament. Our reality is that we've got,
I've done this much quicker. The quicker
go ahead,
way.
Lori.
No, don't go. No, I'm just this part. Ideally, it's your best available players, but for us, it tends to be the available players.
There's no ability like availability, as they say.
But those also happen to be the kids who like baseball most.
Okay.
Whose families are willing to say, oh, we won't go away in June. We'll wait till end of summer.
Right.
Okay.
There are people who plan their summer vacations around making sure that they are available to play in postseason baseball for Little League because it's for these kids and these families. It's a blast. Yeah. It's an opportunity to get for basically nothing in terms of monetary commitment, an extra couple of weeks of intense or relatively intense baseball instruction, and it's sort of like a mini baseball camp, sort of, right? And so what we do about this time every year is we send out an all-star availability questionnaire where it's just like, hey, we would like to know if your kid is available starting with the end of our season through roughly July, first week in July, right? Yeah. Because there's a potential for regular season baseball ends, and what we will do is we will practice for a week or two before the tournament season starts. There will be a weekend of games. You might advance to another weekend of games, and if you win that second weekend of games, you could go on to the state tournament a couple of weeks after that.
Right.
Don't worry, you'll never win that.
You'll never win that. Right? Like there's a small chance you'll win the district and advance to the states like we did a couple of years ago with Calvin's 11-year-olds team. But once you get there, you're going up against some real serious motherfuckers, like the travel ball weirdos that we talked about before. That's just not the culture of our league. We just don't produce that sort of...
And we don't have the population.
Right. We don't have... Right. When we went to go play in that state tournament, as careful listeners of the show will remember, we ran into some monsters out of Northern Virginia, where like their little league has 22 fucking teams of kids to choose from.
Like they better have a better team than ours.
In any event, the thing that our questionnaire said was like, because you want to give these people an idea of what they're signing up for potentially, right? Like if you want to participate and you are selected, here's what you can expect. And what you can expect is up to perhaps 5 or 6 days a week of baseball activity, right? So that takes you from like the average kid in our league at the low end, the average middle low, plays baseball like 4 hours a week, maybe, like practices for 2 hours once a week and has a game for 1 to 2 hours once a week, and that's about 4 hours of baseball a week. So you might go from 4 hours of baseball a week for your average 9-year-old to like 10 or 12 hours a week for a 2-week chunk in the middle of June when there's no school. We're not opening up an actual baseball mini camp where your kid gets his ass out of bed at the ass crack of dawn and like shows up at 8 o'clock in the morning and we feed him lunch and he can go home for dinner at 5:30 or whatever. No. It's a Tuesday. You come to the ball field at 5:30.
You drop your kid off at the field.
Right. Drop your kid off. And
we send him home tired. You're welcome.
Send him home tired at dark, right? At 7:50 or 8 o'clock or something, right?
This interest letter notice, is this the first time you've done this, or did you guys do this last year?
No, we did it last year. Okay. And then in previous years it has been done like...
Too late.
Sporadically and haphazardly, but generally this sort of thing goes out and you... It's almost like grapevine to some extent. Like, hey, is your kid going to be able to play All-Stars? Right. Is the way we've done it before. Now it's a Google form or whatever, right? Like a Survey Monkey or something. Anyway, it was just there's a throwaway line in the interest email that says 5 or 6 days a week, right? Which is maybe even slightly overstated because the more that I thought about it.
The wording was a little confusing, Bob.
Well, sure. But like... the week of the tournament, you're going to play games on either Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And, like, if we're lucky, we'll get to practice those kids twice that week before the weekend tournament starts, right? So, like, Monday, Wednesday, we'll practice you, and then we'll start playing games Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Also, if there is a Monday through Friday week and any individual kid is like, I need a day off of one of those, I think that would be very fine.
Right. You would set the expectation, hey, we're going to have 6 practices over the course of the next 11 days before the tournament starts. Please, like, it's expected that you make them all. If you have to miss one, we get it. Right. It's fine. But, like,
the kids want to be there.
The kids want to be there because, and in large part because as a coach who's now done this for a few years, like the most fun and engaging stuff that I do in practice, I do as a result of having had to come up with fun and engaging stuff during this 2-week period where you're seeing these kids 3 out of 5 days or 3 out of 6 days or something. And it's like, that can be a lot. And like, as a coach of children, what you recognize is that the drill instructor method of being an asshole doesn't work with kids to produce a better baseball product.
Right.
It's a short amount of time. You're not going to be able to like break them or whatever the weird militaristic thought would be. The reality is, if they're not having a good time, they're not getting any better at baseball, right? And so all of our incentives are aligned. I want your kid to have a good time because I want him to get better at baseball because we want to win games because that's fun because we get to then play more baseball, right? And your kid wants to have fun and win more games because he's hanging out with buddies and having fun, and winning baseball games is more fun. Sorry, it just is. That's just the reality of the situation. We got an email from an upset mother who said, my children will not be participating in this because 5 to 6 days a week of baseball doesn't leave enough time for s'mores and swimming and
Date
family
nights.
time and date nights and all the rest. And if you've
She
got
stressed twice in the email that this is bad for marriages.
yeah,
So this is
Fuck you.
So this is not just like a, hey, my kids are not participating. This is like not only that, but this is not right.
this is a call. This is a call to a social cause that included in her follow-up email that we know, because we are intelligent people who know the research, we are actively doing harm to children, right? It is known. There has been scads, piles of academic research on this topic, and the amount of sport that you are forcing upon these children is actively doing harm. You are actively doing harm to these children, and you should instead choose to do what's right, even if it is out of step with the current culture, and create a quote-unquote normal practice schedule and stop emphasizing like performance and winning, and instead think of the s'mores and think of the swimming. You think that I'm exaggerating, but this is what's literally in the email. And imagine all of the money and attention and
What we
love
should really do is start
and children that would come pouring in to our Little League if we started a mental health awareness campaign around our Little League and instead recentered our focus on mental health instead of baseball. We would then have the most successful baseball league, is the claim.
Is this person familiar to you? Like, do they make their faces known?
So this person's child was on an all-star team last year. Notably, he's probably the best 9-year-old baseball player I've ever seen.
Very fun to watch.
The sort of child that you see walk onto a baseball field and say, "Oh, he's exactly where he's supposed to be now." Like he is fit for purpose here on the ball field. And apparently that child will not be participating in postseason baseball this year because of the
He needs family time.
mental health anguish that we are imposing upon him by doing harm. And let me ask a question, Abe. I know you're not a man with children.
Yes, that's true.
But imagine yourself briefly as a parent of a child that you presumably care about and love and want to see thrive in this world. If you believed that the experience of last summer when your child was in All-Stars was a negative impact on his mental and physical well-being because of all of the added time spent practicing with his friends who he loves to play a sport that he loves, that had a net negative impact on him. And further, you believed that the people who run the Little League are not just doing harm to the local rabble, the local children, but knowingly perpetuating harm because of the things that they know about the mental health and physical health impacts of too much sport on children. Would you sign your kid up again to be abused, to be knowingly abused by these people? And if you did, would you not be sort of a horrible person?
She's not signing him up for All-Stars again.
Did she?
But she is putting her child in the care of people who are perpetuating harm on children on purpose.
Right. Yeah, if that's your view, then what are you doing?
Either you don't believe that, right? Either you're completely full of shit and you don't believe any of the things that you purport to believe or claim to believe, or you're a horrible person who is putting your child in the care of people who knowingly harm children on purpose.
You mentioned a follow-up email. Was this all in one day? I'm trying to figure out, did she just have a bad day and she's taking a dump on the baseball league?
She went on to podcast about it.
But not just about.
About this, but included among different topics was this. Can you believe this hostile environment that they're cultivating here with the baseball? Yeah. Like they basically repeated what they said in the email on the podcast?
I literally just read it aloud as an open letter, basically. So I'm in a position where I'm probably going to write a lengthy email to the entire Little League that just extols the virtue of postseason baseball.
You know, Max's dad was saying he missed your PTO emails.
Yeah,
so this
I
is
have
perfect.
made an infrequent habit of lengthy emails to the Little League, but I've sent out 2 or 3 over the course of the last couple of seasons, and I think one is called for now.
So that's what he'll be working on for 2 weeks.
No, it has to go out in the next couple of days because the All-Star interest forums are due this weekend, so it's got to happen soon.
And that'll be the first time responding to these emails.
Somebody sent I think our wording was confusing and we apologize, but like
the wording is not confusing.
Right. The response was, "Oh no, I thoroughly understand, and you are abusing children."
I see. That is a weird position to take, considering
she's fighting a monster in her mind that is like the travel ball psychos, because she's not precise as usual. She's not precisely wrong. If you are going to force your kid to do 20 hours a week of baseball, there will be negative outcomes.
Right.
We are simply offering an opportunity to have fun for a few extra days in June. And it's a higher pressure, higher competitive environment. I want these kids to get better and to win, but I want it for them, crucially. And like whatever negative pressure is being put on them is either being put on them at home or by themselves. Like it's not coming from the coaches. It's not coming from us. Because again, like the only way I've ever been able to get anything productive done is making sure that the kids are having a good fucking time. I think that sort of goes without saying.
And even, I mean, with one major exception that is no longer with the league and then another one that doesn't matter, the coaches really, like I think of in that last game at the state championship when Connor dropped an easy pop fly and came off the field in tears. Eric going, "Hey, that's baseball." When like all Eric wants is to win baseball games. That's all. At any moment, I want to win baseball games.
No, crucially, like, I want to win baseball games in baseball games.
In
right?
baseball
like,
games, yes.
When we are in the game,
Right.
It's all he wants.
We are coaching to win. And like there are, and I've said this before, and I actually said, it's funny, I was umpiring a game this week, and I turned around to the people in the press box who were like keeping the scoreboard or whatever. And I was like, man, I miss coaching in this division. And they were like, why? I said, because I'm the only jerk who knows how to beat this team, right? Like, I know, like, with any team, talent level doesn't matter. I know. I mean, yeah, sure, talent level would help.
Matters.
But I would know what buttons to press to win a game against this team, and none of the other coaches are equipped to do that, and this team is just going to win all its games probably unless they melt down on their own.
The point is, the coaches do not let the kids know how much they do want it for themselves. Right. They don't ever let them. But Eric doesn't let them know. He is so nice when people make mistakes.
No, he's trying to compete to win the game in the moment of the game.
Yeah.
But he doesn't actually want to win Little League baseball games. Like, he's a psycho, but he's not a fucking psycho.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, he's
in the game, he is a psycho.
In the game, he wants to win because he's a competitive person who wants to win. But like the moment it's over, it's just like, you know, it's
what are you gonna do? Yeah.
It's baseball. It's weird. What are you gonna do? And I have that too. I want to win the game as the game is going on. I'm coaching my ass off to try to wring from these children a performance that will win a game. That's what you would hope a coach would do, right? Is like, because ultimately I want to win the game so that the children will have won a game because it is gratifying to them to win a game. The moment it's over, the moment we've lost, I am turning this loss into something productive, right? I don't sit there and look at them and make them look me in the eye and say, you should be ashamed of yourself for the way that you performed today, which is what some other coaches who are no longer with the league have done in the past, right? Like, I'm not that guy. I'm not denying my competitive instinct. I'm just saying that, like, broadly speaking, that's not the point. It's not why we're here. It's not what we're doing. Anyway. It was
crazy.
That is wild. Yeah, that's this was just sent to you or the whole group?
It was sent to the league, the main the sort of email address that
gotcha.
But it's sent to the league.
Yeah.
Forwarded to Bob, screenshotted to me.
I see. But
read to several people.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to make. Her goal was for it to make its rounds. I don't think that's terribly surprising.
Is she going to invite you on her podcast?
No, I don't think so. Her blog has a paywall. I tried to sign up to read the blog.
What's her angle? Is it like a lifestyle kind of podcast, like pop culture?
All right. I will sum it up.
You have to go to bed.
Yeah, I know. But I'll sum it up in the following way. Trump and the Pope and the devil are all the same and bad, to be clear. They're the three narcissists. It's Trump and the Pope and the devil.
The Trinity.
Yes.
Holy Trinity of bad narcissists.
Trinity.
Don't drink and drive with children in the car. Clean up dog shit when your dog makes a mess. And a mental health little league would make all of the money.
But also don't have sex with your wife.
Oh yeah.
Ask her what candy she wants.
She posits herself as a sort of
like a weird feminism.
Ask the expert when it comes to women questions.
Oh, she's giving like relationship advice. Yeah,
and so a guy allegedly, I think she probably makes up the questions. But, a man wrote in and said, "Hey, what was it? My wife doesn't want to be on birth control, but also doesn't want to have children. What gives?" And she was like, "You're probably a rapist." Is the answer? Like, why do you hate women? Was the essentially the response to this guy?
Have you considered what treats she might like? Yeah. Maybe she wants something salty.
Maybe instead of wanting sex, you should get her snacks.
It's so weird. It's so weird. It was so weird. It was so weird.
The strangers who live among you guys.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what we're up to. We watch anything else?
No.
Should I link to her podcast?
No.
I think I'll probably link to her podcast.
Don't give her an audience.
Oh, yes, that's what's going to happen.
You don't want to platform her on our platform of tremendous reach. It's like when the Slate Political Gabfest at the end, they're like, what are your cultural recommendations? Or whatever,
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Some of them are pretty good, yeah.
But they always give, like, the thing they read in the Atlantic or the New York Times this week.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you don't have to fucking log roll for the Atlantic or the New York Times. Your audience, substantial though it may be, is considerably smaller than the audience that the New York Times currently has. Find something else interesting.
So you're saying punch up, recommend down?
Always recommend down.
Okay.
Yeah, but this isn't down.
I think it is literally. There's no way that she has a larger audience than we do.
She has people writing in to ask her questions.
She has made up emails that she's receiving.
She has like 8 kids.
This is the first episode of her podcast. How can she have letters written in already?
This is the first episode?
This is the first episode? Do you think this is all ginned up just for content? Like, I'm going to throw a bomb in this group.
She worded it like it wasn't.
I think it was.
Oh, it's cat.
Anyway, check out brainiron.substack.com for links to all of that. If you want to hear somebody talk about how demonic Trump and the Pope.
Oh, it's cat.
You better not have a Mark Strassmann segment, I'll tell you that.
Oh, it's cat.
You stop talking to the cat so that I can not have to fucking edit you just saying, oh, it's cat out over and over again?
It looks ridiculous from here. I don't see any cat. I just see you.
Abe, have you got anything else for us tonight?
Nope.
Well, I guess that's all we've got for you tonight then. We'll talk to you next time.
Later. Is the cat actually there?
There's a cat on the wrong side of the computer.
Like you're just like, oh, okay. I was wondering, boy.
See, she was here.
Lori has lost it. What is happening? Okay, so she's just hanging around.
Don't knock that over.
That was the strategy. Well, question: if you just run.
What's weird is that, like, the only reason that he is who he is because of how good he is.
Yes, right.
Just speaking extemporaneously about anything, right? Like just a constant, like the world's. If the president wasn't the foremost bullshitter on the planet, Russell Brand is one of the world's most consummate bullshitters.
Yeah, and at a very rapid pace, right? He's known to be that kind. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he's so moved by Christianity that he forgets passages. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But that's weird. I don't know what the upside is to doing any of these interviews, but here he is.
I mean, just getting your name out there, right?
Yeah, I guess
the upside.
In this way.
There's nothing. Obviously, it's antisocial and what have you, but let's not pretend like there aren't a lot of dudes out there who aren't thinking, oh, hell yeah, if I was super fucking rich and famous and looked like a rock star, I'd bang 16-year-olds who were into me.
Literally wrote songs about it, right? I mean, in the lyrics, and they, or in their memoirs or whatever, admit to it.
Yeah.
Very weird.
I mean, it is weird just because it's like the older you get.
Right, yeah, that's the thing. Like when
the more it is like literally seeking out a technicality, right? Like like surely you could find some 23, 24-year-olds that supply the same basic.
It's to go out of your way to commit this crime is just weird. Yeah.
It's the algorithm. It's not making shit up. It's very important
it's not an
science
algorithm.
happening.
It's a model.
Yeah, models and algos. What do you think the model is built on?
I'm going to corner one of these AI models to give the truth. Like, this is all bullshit, right? This percentage stuff, and it'll eventually give it up.
Oh, yes. You're going to take down meteorology.
That's right.
Using Claude.
That's right.
Anyway.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
The proceeding was created with 100% human content.